KBFC head of how much against Northeast United FC. Today here we have Coach Ivan with Vibin Mohan. The floor is open for question.
Vibin, gallery നല്ല കളിയിൽ ഇരുന്ന് കളി കാണും. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് പ്ലേ ഓഫ് ഫീൽഡിലേക്ക് വരും. ഗാലറി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പുറത്തിരുന്ന് പ്ലേ ഫീൽഡിൽ അല്ലാതെ കളി കാണുമ്പോൾ കിട്ടുന്ന ഒരു എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് എന്താണ്? അതിലൂടെ എന്തൊക്കെ ലേൺ ചെയ്തു ഒരു പ്രൊഫഷണൽ മാച്ചിലേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങുന്നതിന് മുമ്പായിട്ട്?
അത് സംഭവം നമുക്ക് ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് ഗുണം ചെയ്യും. കാരണം ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ പൊസിഷനിലുള്ള ഒരാൾ കളിക്കുമ്പോൾ എന്താണ് അവർ ചെയ്ത മിസ്റ്റേക്ക്, അതൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് എന്താണ് അവർ ചെയ്യാണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നതൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് അറിയാൻ പറ്റും. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ കളിക്കാൻ ഇറങ്ങുമ്പോൾ എന്താണ് അവർ ചെയ്ത തെറ്റുകളൊന്നും ചെയ്യാതിരിക്കാൻ ശ്രമിക്കും. അങ്ങനെ ചോദിച്ചാൽ ഇപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് കുറേ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഗുണം ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. കാരണം അവർ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് പ്ലേയേഴ്സാണ്, നമ്മൾ യങ് പ്ലേയേഴ്സാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് അവരുടെ നിന്ന് കുറേ കാര്യങ്ങൾ പഠിക്കാൻ പറ്റും. അപ്പോൾ അവരുടെ ലൈഫ് സ്റ്റൈലായാലും അവർ ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്യണ വേ നമുക്ക് കറക്റ്റായിട്ട് അവരെ കണ്ട് പഠിക്കാൻ പറ്റും. അപ്പോൾ ഫോറിനേഴ്സാണ് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് അവരുടെ രീതികളൊക്കെ കുറേ കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമുക്ക് പഠിക്കാനുണ്ട്. തരലുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഓഫ് ദ ഫീൽഡായാലും നമുക്ക് അവർ പറഞ്ഞു തരലുണ്ട്, ഇങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യണം അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യണം എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു തരും. നമ്മൾ കുറേ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഗുണം ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട് അത്.
Hi coach, I'm Sarar from Vibin.
Hello.
Last year was to have a good season. We have completed I think 7 or 8 unbeaten matches in a row. But this year things were very different. We have lost 2 good games, one against Mumbai and then against FC Goa. So tomorrow is a crucial day for us. So what's your preparation and game plan against the crucial match against Northeast FC?
Well, it's another game in a row, and in the whole our season so far, also last year I could mention that every game for us is a crucial. Every game for us is a huge fight for points. There are always teams who want to play the best games against Kerala Blasters. It gives something special, especially when we play in Kochi. It's different now this season comparing to last season because this season there are home away games, we're traveling, fans and all these things. It's different. And of course you find yourself sometimes during the season where you have good games, good rhythm, good line of positive result. Then you enter into one less good period where you have to react. And in these situations nobody can do that for us. It's up to us. It's up to us. So any other game till the end, 6 big steps to go. It's up to us, and we have to respond. We have to be brave enough, clever enough to approach all those games with the correct, like I say, approach and fight for the points. Because I think now we are on a level where we need a couple of more points, couple of more victories to secure maybe the playoffs. Second season in a row, which will be a good thing for us as a club in a growing up process. Speaking about younger players, it will be a huge experience for them as well, and that's the way we want to do the things. So tomorrow's game is one of the many games that we have to approach on the correct way, especially playing at home with motivation, aggressivity, grinta to show that we are playing at home, and with this kind of approach we show that couple of times so far this season that we were winning our games at home, so tomorrow must be the same. So it's up to us how we will play this game, how we will approach against one good opponent who is at bottom table, but it's the circumstances that accumulated in the past period. They are not a bad team, it's a good opponent, and we have to accept this game as a really serious test, a serious game in this moment to respond correct way and get back on a winning line.
Like some of the recent injuries has shown some of the weakness of our strength bench actually. So there's a criticism arising like we haven't really utilized the January window. What's your take on this? Is there any new signings coming up?
Well, there are certain things and we are still waiting them to be concreted, of course. But we are always in a situation, especially speaking about January transfer window. If you know that there is 1 month and 1.5 months till the end of the season, and if you are already in 5-6 months line with one certain group of players. And then the transfer window in Indian Super League is quite odd, I'd say, because let's be statistically, there are 11 teams, and even if you mention I-League, so with 12 teams in I-League, 11 teams in ISL, we have 23 teams. Actually, the market of 23 players which you want to explore about reinforcements. If you find yourself in January transfer window, 23 teams, let's say that every team has 30 players, which is not the case. So it gives you like 690 players, let's say 700 players. One good half of those players are not available because they're under contract, they're playing in their teams, and the clubs, they will not release them, not a chance. So then the half of those players who might be available, there are certain conditions if you can offer them or not as a club. And most of these movements, they are based on swap deals. Okay, now you go there, I'll take this player. There is this one, no, I'll take. And it gives you in perspective on a long term, speaking about that 1 month remaining or 1 month and a half, it gives you almost nothing. And then as a club, if you have one player already adapted to your system or your program or training rhythm for a previous 6 months, and then you want to release one player and get the same player, actually the player with the same qualities, and then not on the level that you have been practicing, then at the end of the day, it's not reinforcement. And then we are looking always at possibilities and options that can reinforce our position or our team. And in many cases, when there are available options, then it's not reinforcement. Then we prefer to have our players who are with us for a longer term, especially speaking about younger players who are coming on a big scene, improving. And then in that case, all these deals, sometimes when we see, it brings nothing, especially not for 1 month and a half, because every player needs at least a couple of weeks to adapt to the new team, to the new dressing room, to the new friends. Okay, they have to be accepted. New training rhythm, new intensity, everything. And the moment they are adapted or something, there are 2 more games to go. Then in that situation, sometimes when we calculate and take in consideration all those things, then we prefer to have our own players, keeping them, continuing with them, or again having young potential players who are future of this club, who are future of Indian football, and like that they improve. Like Vibin, like Nihal, we can mention many other younger players who are already for one period with us, and this is how you actually improve and coming step by step to a higher level. That's our opinion. But of course, every time when there is a possibility, so right now also we have one deal which is like done. We are waiting if it can be possible to get that player now in January. If not, we'll have to wait the end of the season. So, and these are the reinforcements that we want. Otherwise, to make a deal just to swap some players, and it brings you actually nothing on the long term. And these kind of things we always try to avoid. If it's reinforcement, yes, then we will do it. If not, then it's not. There is no point. There is no point. So
there's a chance for a new signing, right? There might be a chance for a new.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because all the teams during the transfer window, at the beginning and the first half of transfer window, all the teams, they refuse. They refuse your offers, they refuse your deals, they refuse. And then in the last part, in the last period, or in the last days of transfer window, depending on position, depending on situation, depending if your team is still in the fight for playoffs or not in this league, then these teams, they make a move, they make the moves. So this is how it goes. So there is still possibility that we will have something till the end of the. So we have fully confidence in our management. They have everything under control, and so far our squad, and especially with the youngsters and all the players are here. They are here on the longer term. They are well in a good shape, so we don't mind if one player is injured or so. There is somebody else who will jump in. Actually, all of them, they started their career like that, maybe getting the chance after one injury or getting a chance after. So this is how it happens. So we have fully confidence in all our players. So whoever is on the pitch, they'll do the job.
Hi, coach.
Hello.
So in a match match with FC Goa, we were dominant in the game till we conceded the penalty. So what do you think happened this year? Because previous years we were known for a fighting spirit. So what changed?
Well, if you speak the whole game about against FC Goa, I think that the whole 90 minutes we were dominant team. We wanted to press, we wanted to push, we wanted to create and score goals to win that game. Of course, when you in a game like against FC Goa, you know that there will be many other things, not only football technical things. There are many other things, provocations, small things on a pitch, and then the penalty. If it was a penalty or not, there is like, you know, at that moment you can just sit there and laugh or being frustrated, because these kind of decisions are really uncommon. But okay, the lack of maybe quality of judging those situations, or not having VAR technology, and I think that every game when we watch in ISL we can see some details, and it's not now, it was the case also last year, but we have to deal with it. And this kind of details in a tight game against one good opponent, that makes difference. And after that you commit a couple of individual mistakes, which leads you again to conceded goals, and then you have to try to get out of the game. I think that in the second half, after our team talk in the dressing room, we responded well, we scored a quick goal, we wanted to push. And again, when you commit these individual mistakes, that costs you really expensive, you know. On a top level against good opponent, how we say, you pay cash, and then you concede those goals, and after that game's over, you know. When you play against good teams, you cannot afford to commit such individual mistakes. Penalty, no penalty, I don't know. It's already a past. There was the case also here, I think, home game against Bengaluru. I think a penalty after 10 minutes. You know, you also, when we are on a side, like sitting and seeing the things, then these kind of things especially happen. Especially still now we don't have a VAR technology. Maybe one day it will change, maybe it will be different, but we have to deal with it. We have to live with it. Of course, it frustrates you later because you lose a game, but that's football. We have to continue. The day after, when we sleep over, we have to again switch off, stay positive, and go and prepare for the next game. That's the only way.
Also, the winners of Super Cup have a chance to play at the group stages of AFC,
Yeah.
and even the venues declared. So, is there any change in the earlier decision to use our underutilized players and then proceed with the full strike?
But we still have to wait about confirmation about the dates, groups, because we still didn't get all those informations, where we will play the games. Then there are many other things. As I understood, the Super Cup will be held between 8th and 25th of April. So it's 17 days of Super Cup. So it means 3 games in the group stage. Winners, they qualify. And so in these 17 days, there is no possibility that you play. So actually, 3 games in the group on 9 days, every 3 days. If you qualify, every 3 days you have semi-finals and finals. So automatically, nobody can play with the best team, because nobody can align the best team all the 5 games. Then the big question mark, logically, if one team will win the playoffs, so they win the place in ACL or Champions League, whatever. So they will say, then there is no reason for us to compete and play with the strongest team in the Super Cup, because we already have a spot, right? So then they will say, okay, then maybe we will play with a different team, or we want to check out our younger players for the next season. That will be one example. Then there will be 5 teams between 7th and 11th spot. They will stop the competition on 26th of February. So they have 40 days till Super Cup. Maybe, you know, lack of motivation, disappointment, any other things. Maybe they will release foreigners. They will say, let's play with our second team. And then the quality of Super Cup in total will be different. Us from our side, of course, we will see the details, when we have to play those games, where we have to play those games. As I understood, all the games will be held in Kerala, right? So 16 teams. Let's see the possibility about infrastructure, about training sessions, because you have to train in between the games. There are many other aspects that we have to get to see the details. And of course, we will be there with the strongest team we have in that moment, we will compete. So there is, but then in that moment, there are many question marks. What will be your strongest team? Who will be available? Who will not be available? But somehow I fear that many clubs, many teams will not be there with the strongest teams. That's my honest opinion. And again, if this kind of Super Cup, whatever we name it, if it's implemented in the season from the beginning and then playing 2 ISL games, 1 Super Cup game or Cup, 2, 3 ISL Cup, then you have all your team, you have best team, you have all the best players, you have good dynamic, then you can rotate and then you can make, like it happens all around the world. With this kind of approach, many teams will be, you know, again, teams who have to wait 6 weeks for the Super Cup, one team who will be already qualified for the, so it will be different, I think. It will be different, but again, playing this kind of competition, of course, especially for the players maybe who didn't play a lot, or of course, the strongest team we'll have at that moment. We'll still see with our management and direction what will be the decision when we get all those details and fixtures, when and where we have to play those games, or, you know, and when it comes, we'll see. So far we have to concentrate on 6 remaining games in ISL and then try to get best out of that.
Now you are in a little tough position, considering you defeats, and your defense is looking little shaky. How you correct it?
Well, it's a normal fact of a football game. You know, when you miss some players or where you enter into that dynamic. We had 2 tough games, especially in the second one. I think we had the grip of the game, but then again the circumstances. But again, it's a past. It's in the past already, because we can never moan about those games. We always take the details about analyzing and then concentrate and focus on the next games. You know, there is a next game you have to go and win. There is a next. This is how it goes. I think that we are still in a good position on the table where if we go and collect more points, that it will give us security later that we are in a good spot in playoffs. And then in the playoffs, like we proved last season, anything's possible. So especially it will be again the different dynamics. And there is also an interesting thing in ISL. Now in the last part of the season, it's not the same feeling playing against the certain teams like it was in the first part of the season. So it can be different. But again, from our side, we can never think about opponents or something like that. We have to prepare ourselves to be strong, to be ready in order to get the points. This is our objective. This is the way how we approach games. So all these things, like what happened, if of course you have a bad feeling, but you must go as a football player. You know, every time after the game, you're sitting in your room, you're talking to your teammates, and then you know there is kind of regret. You lost the game. Tomorrow morning you wake up, you switch, you go. This is how it goes. Especially if you are in a rhythm like it was last season. You know, every 3 days, like there is a new game. Switch off, go. That's the only way. That's the only way in football to stay positive and prepare for the next one. Let's go for it. So this is what we are doing now.
Somebody is not playing. Any other injury worries?
Lešković is actually at the end of his recovery. So from our side, we will see still today his muscle strain recovered, so healed. So it's up to us now to see today what kind of risk we can have, maybe letting him playing this game or not. You know, being maybe stupid, risking certain things and losing him again on a long term, or maybe waiting one more game and saying, okay, then we have him for the rest of the season. Sandeep will arrive tonight back to Kochi. He was operated in Mumbai. Everything went great. Everything's okay. So now it's about the recovery process. Unfortunately, he will not be ready for this season till the end, and for the next season he will be with the team. So this is these are 2 cases. All the other things, everybody's available. So for tomorrow, we'll try to pick up the best team and go for points.
Past is past, and this current past is past, and good luck for the next game. But you expressed your disappointment as your team lost 3-1 against FC Goa.
Yes.
Is it acceptable to lose 2 games in a row at the current stage of the league?
Yes, it is not pleasant. It is not pleasant, especially knowing that this is the important part where actually you have a chance to secure the high ranking and have that security, like, okay, we are there, we are playing the playoffs, and then prepare for the next period. still now. I think last year also we were fighting till the last moment about the playoffs. And you know, about that, it's never easy with us. So we always have this kind of, you know, fighting till the last moment, because that's what we experienced in every game, that we have to fight till the last minute. Every game, I don't recall that we had kind of easy game since last year, or where we were leading or saying, okay, this game is easy. No. With us, it's always fighting till the last moment, and actually I like, this is the beauty of football. So now every game, all of these boys, and for them is also excellent feeling, because they have to know that for the future, this is what it is playing in Kerala Blasters. This is what it will be always like that, and like that you become better. You know, you have to compete all the time, not thinking, oh, we can start the game easy, the first 10 minutes. Then no, then in first 20 minutes you get 4 goals. That's not the case. On top level, you get punished. So also in a Goa, where you cannot afford mistakes, you cannot be casual. These kind of things, it makes you frustrated. And if you want to compete and be on top, you must always be top from the first second till the last second. And this is how it is with us. So I expect nothing more but that in the last 6 games, where we'll have to go and fight from the first till the last moment.
How do you realize the importance of improving on the mistake and collectively playing the game?
But improving about individual mistakes is showing the examples, showing what happened, maybe finding a good examples how it happens in these situations on a top level, seeing, speaking with the players, showing them these examples, and then trying to make them recognize what was wrong and what was good. And I know that feeling as a former player when I was younger. Every player, when you are younger, you commit mistakes. And then in those moments when you make those mistakes later on, when you know about them, then you recognize and say, okay, that was wrong. So next time it happens, I must not do that. And like that you improve. So next time it happens, you react differently. So and this is how you work with the players, you know, showing them. If I remember in the past, there were no videos, like no possibilities to show you videos from abroad, or no possibilities like with having these things from studio after the game. It was different. But again, you show these examples, you point the players like, look, this was wrong, this was good, and like that, players, they understand, they improve. So this is the only way. So like hopefully that in the future we will not see again these kind of things.
Vibin, ഇപ്പോൾ കോച്ച് പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ നേരത്തെ നമ്മുടെ തുടർച്ചയായ ജയങ്ങളിലൂടെ നല്ലൊരു പൊസിഷനിലായിരുന്നു. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിപ്പോൾ 2 തുടർച്ചയായ തോൽവികൾ. അപ്പോൾ അത് കൂട്ടത്തിൻ്റെ അവസാനം നമുക്കുള്ള 6 ഗെയിമുകൾ കൂടിയുള്ള കൂടുതൽ പ്രഷറിലേക്ക് എത്തുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ നേരത്തെ വളരെ സ്മൂത്തായ ഇതിൽ നിന്ന് മാറി ഒരു പ്രഷർ ഘട്ടത്തിലേക്ക് പോകുമ്പോൾ ടീമിലെ ജൂനിയർ താരങ്ങളുടെ ഒരു മൊത്തത്തിലുള്ള വികാരം എങ്ങനെയാണ് നിങ്ങൾ ഇത്തരം ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്?
സിറ്റുവേഷൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ കോച്ച് പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ എല്ലാം പാസ്റ്റ് ഈസ് പാസ്റ്റ്. ഇപ്പോൾ കഴിഞ്ഞത് കഴിഞ്ഞു. ഇനിയിപ്പോൾ പുതിയതായി നമുക്കിനി 6 ഗെയിമും കൂടി ഉണ്ട്. 6 ഗെയിമിൽ നമുക്ക് നല്ല പോയിൻറ്റ്സ് കിട്ടാൻ നമ്മൾ എന്തായാലും ക്വാളിഫൈ ചെയ്യും. നമ്മളിനിയിപ്പോൾ അത് ചിന്തിച്ചാൽ മതി. ഇനിയിപ്പോൾ കഴിഞ്ഞത് ഓർത്തിട്ട് കാര്യമില്ലല്ലോ. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ കഴിഞ്ഞ കളികളൊക്കെ ചെയ്ത മിസ്റ്റേക്കൊക്കെ എന്താണോ അതിനി പുതിയതായിട്ട് ആവർത്തിക്കാതിരിക്കും. അത്രേ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് അങ്ങനെ തോന്നിയിട്ടുള്ളൂ. ഇപ്പോൾ പ്രാക്ടീസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ എത്രത്തോളം പ്രാക്ടീസ് ചെയ്യണോ അത്രയും ഇത്.
Obviously next step എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് റെഗുലറായിട്ട് പ്ലേയിങ് ടൈം കിട്ടുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അതേസമയം കേരള ബ്ലാസ്റ്റേഴ്സിൽ മിഡ്ഫീൽഡിൽ അത്യാവശ്യം കോമ്പറ്റീഷനുള്ളൊരു പൊസിഷനാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ ഇരിക്കെ ഒരു റെഗുലർ സ്റ്റാർട്ടർ ആവാനുള്ള ഒരു പാത്ത് കാണുന്നുണ്ടോ ഈ ഒരു മാസം?
അത് എനിക്ക് അറിയില്ല. അതൊക്കെ കോച്ചിൻ്റെ ഡിസിഷനാണ്. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ലല്ലോ റെഗുലറായിട്ട് കളിക്കുകയോ ഇല്ല. അതിപ്പോൾ അടുത്ത കളി കളിക്കാന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ നമ്മൾ പെർഫോമൻസിനനുസരിച്ചിരിക്കും ബാക്കിയുള്ള കളികളുടെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ.
Interacted with a few fans on Twitter. So there was a question raised to him about the success and ambition of the club. So he pointed out that last year Kerala Blasters was the runners-up, and now we are on the way to get playoff spots. But at the same time, there is frustration among the fans that after finishing second in the league last year, there is no ambition to fight for the title. Rather, the club seems to be settling or prioritizing a playoff spot. So what do you think is the difference between the ambition and the definition of success between the fans and the club at this moment?
Well, there is always that process, you know, when you find yourself as a club in a different position, like after a couple of years of disappointment, then you first have to find out and to analyze many problems, analyze the situation, and then first step to improvement is actually saying to yourself, okay, there is a problem, we have a problem, how to solve that, and then work on that. And in football, it never happens in a short period. It never happens. Take example now in Arsenal. I think last year they were in difficult position. They were like, and then you keep working in a kind of process that you want to build up, and then for the next season you build up a nice basics, you know, kind of legacy that it stays for a longer term. Last year, since we started, we wanted to change certain things, and these things you cannot change in once and saying, okay, let's change that. No, it has to go step by step or piece by piece, and then to complete that puzzle, sometimes it will take time. Then, speaking about the project and vision of Kerala Blasters as a club, where you have young players coming from the youth to the first squad, because in the modern football, if you look worldwide, any competition, you have two options. Or you take whatever budget you have, you go and say, okay, go and buy everything, buy everybody, buy everybody the best. You go and play, and you will be on top. Okay, which most of the clubs in ISL cannot do and will not do, because there is also salary cap, things that you have to respect. And there is other option where you have to say, okay, this is my limited budget, we have to work within it, we have, this is the squad we have, this is the things we have, and you try building up, you know, with the vision, with the younger players. What I think that it will happen now in the nearest future in ISL, in the previous seasons, what was happening on a shorter term competition, many players, they were going and playing in ISL teams, whatever ISL teams, for 3 months. Then they were stopping and they were going and playing in I-League, okay, for 3 months. Then they were stopping, they were going and playing again. So then the clubs never had opportunity of ownership and knowing actually what is the asset of the club. Now, what is now obvious in the last 1.5 years, all the clubs started actually signing players on a longer term, starting with younger players, which are the asset. Okay, so what happens next? In the nearest future, all of these players that we mentioned, 700 players, which are on the, let's say, top market in the Indian Super League and I-League, are under contracts. So then the clubs cannot just go in the market saying, no, okay, now you come and sign with me. Now, no, all the players under contract. Then the clubs will have to change the strategy. They will have to change the way how they work, because players are not available. Then there will be more transfer fees. There will be more different things. And these kind of things we are anticipating, saying that maybe the younger players who are now evolving and improving, later on they become your value, they become your, you know, important players of your team, young national teams, and then you have a strong team. Because, like I said, sometimes the things that you want, they are not available for you and you cannot afford them. This is the fact. And then as a club, you have to find a way how you can operate, how you can move and actually act on in this market. So we as a club, we are doing that. And sometimes I know that it gives you different feeling with between direction and fans and coaching staff and everything, but this is the way how it goes. We have to be realistic, and again fighting like that till one moment where actually, what we said also last year, we want to become a team who will be constantly on a longer term the team who will be there, you know, being in top, that everybody then later knows, okay, Kerala Blasters, this is the team of top 3, you know, this is the team of, and then it will happen one day that in 1 season or 2 seasons you will be there as a champion, you will be there with the trophy. This is how it happens in football. So, and you have to plan it on longer term. It's not like plan today for next 3 months and then next season you go again reset to 0, and then very difficult. So, and I'm glad that that was the communication. So we all together within our club, we follow that lead, and we know that on longer term it will give results for sure.
Just kind of follow that, you just stressed the importance of the process, the long-term process. So could you tell me, like, where in that long-term process Kerala Blasters are right now? Like how long would it take for the process to end or reach its final stages?
The biggest asset of one club is your youth system, and actually the biggest engine of your club is your youth system. Just take the example of half of the teams in ISL League I think they don't have organized youth system and with the B team and or other things. When you organize these things and year by year these boys are coming through the ranks and they're coming to the first squad, then this is the organized asset which will be value of your team in ISL. If you don't have that, then every time in the market you have to go and fish something that maybe you are not happy with, you know. And I think that we as a club, we started it 1.5 years ago. Whoever didn't start it last year at the beginning, so they're 1.5 years ago behind. So, and this kind of process actually started worldwide like 20-something years ago. And that's why you see maybe some countries suffering, not being capable of qualifying for the World Cup or many other things, because this is that process. And it goes from national teams to the clubs. And then as a club, we know that if we do that, maybe we are first in India, on a longer term it will give you results. Because then these young players, they will be recognized going through the young national teams later when they are a little bit older, part of Kerala Blasters, other teams in the league, national team. And this is how it goes. Because this is the process. The young boys getting older, you cannot stop that. So this is how it goes. So we want to compete and be competitive with those things, and then we know they will win, for sure.
You are really satisfied with your young assets?
I like seeing them caring about the training session, caring about the game. I like the fact how they care becoming professionals on a high level, how they're dedicated to work. I like the way how they care being in a team, in a starting 11, and that gives you a good feeling. So, and I'm sure that many of them, they will go through those ranks and show the quality in ISL, 100%.
Azhar, Ayman, and now even Tejas appears to be promoted to the senior team. Are there any more promotions lined up this month or no?
Well, actually, they are young players. Like we said last year, we will always have these young players coming and practicing with us on a longer term, because like that you give them feeling being with the first squad, you give them feeling what does it take to be a first team player, and then in those process and most moments, actually you complete, especially from January, you organize your team for the next seasons and for the future. Later, when some of them, they are part of the team and they come back for the next season, they don't need time to adapt, they don't need time to meet the other. Everybody knows them, we know them, and they are adapted to the team. This is actually the advanced step of one process that actually you anticipate that later when they are part of the first squad, they're already there. You don't have to lose any more time to adapt them. So we will see still till the end of the season. There are young players, good players in the B team. We'll see. We're following them. They're playing also games. Today they play one game. We're following that. Every game we watch. So, and they all know if there is anything good, there will be a prize to be part of the first squad.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you guys.